There we go. Oh, good. Cookie good. Hey everyone, it's Bethany from Beth and Books and welcome back to this Book Nook. First of all, I'm really sorry about the lighting situation. It's literally 4:30. I've just come home from work. I want to film for you guys, but it is dark. So we're working with really bad lighting. My apologies. But we are here for the next quarterly update of books I'm excited for. I'm so excited because whenever I get to research, I've learned about new authors, new upcoming books, and I get to share them with you. As always, I'll leave all the links to Goodreads down below. So if any of you want to add any of those to your own Goodreads want to read shelves, you can go for it. I'll also, whilst I'm here, ask you to leave a cheeky like and subscribe if you want. You don't have to, but if you want, please consider it because we are working our way towards that 1,000 subscriber mark. Help a small booktuber out. Anyway, I'll be quiet because, well, I won't be quiet. I'll move on because we are going to be talking about 24 books and I don't want to waste your time. Alrighty, so the first one on my list is Rainbow Rowell's Any Way the Wind Blows. I'll gloss over this one really quickly. It's part 3 in the Simon Snow series. Book 1 I absolutely adored. Finn, hurry up and read it and give me my copy back. Book 2 I absolutely was disappointed in because where did all the romance go? Book 3 I'm hoping we get it back. Alright, next. So moving on from that, we have 6 Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim, and this is another YA fantasy. She is the author who wrote Spin the Dawn, which I haven't read, but I've heard great things about, so I thought I'd just start with this one because the premise of this book just excites me a bit more. So in this novel, our main character is Shiori, and essentially she is being forced to marry some guy she doesn't want to marry. The morning of her marriage, some ancient power within her awakens. She's like, yay, no more marriage. Her grandma's like, boo, I'm gonna turn your brothers into cranes and kick you out. So that's what happens, and we follow Shiori as essentially she has been sworn to not say anything negative about her family, otherwise one of her brothers will die. But guess what? She can find help in the boy she never wanted to marry. I'm intrigued. I want to read it. The next book is The Final Girl Support, and this is by Gary Hendricks? Grady Hendricks. He wrote the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, and I was okay with that book. So I was like, I'm going to see if this one by him I love even more. This is an adult thriller horror book. Now this one does sound more exciting to me than his Southern Vampires one because this follows our character. I don't think she's named. Oh, she is Lynette. By the way, my notes are down here, so apologies if you see me glancing. I can't memorise 24 blurbs, I'm sure you understand. Anyway, Lynette is the final girl standing after 22 people in her class group were massacred. She was the survivor, and this book follows the survivors of massacres because they're in a support group until someone decides to hunt down the support group girls and make their lives misery. I like this idea. It's kind of like when you flip the Chosen Ones trope on its head. I feel like this is flipping the survivor trope on its head. The survivors become the hunted. I'm just really intrigued, and I hope this is better than, well, for me, I hope this is a better reading experience than his other novel. But giving people a second chance. Next we have She Who Became the Sun, which is an adult LGBT fantasy. And first of all, I was drawn in by the cover. I am not going to lie to you. Also, like this one is just best if I read it for you. Mulan meets The Song of Achilles in Shelley Parker Chan's She Who Became the Sun. A bold, queer and lyrical reimagining of the rise of the founding empire of the Ming Dynasty from an amazing new voice. So it is a debut book as well, and I'm all here to try that out. I read Mulan and I added it to my want to read list. Next up is For Your Own Good. Now there's 2 main reasons I'm excited for this. First one, Samantha Downing. She wrote My Lovely Wife, which I loved and gave 5 stars, and I always recommend My Lovely Wife to people who like novels by Gillian Flynn, such as Gone Girl. If you like those novels, I recommend My Lovely Wife. And now this is the same author releasing a new book, and also it's a school setting, which is the second reason I added it to my list. It's also giving me slight Hannibal vibes, and that might be completely off the mark. Essentially, our main character is a teacher. One of the parents of the students at his school has been murdered. A student is digging into his past, and it sounds like he might be a bit bad, but he's really good at posturing as a normal member of society. Colour me intrigued. And then another one I'll quickly gloss over is Gods and Monsters, book 3 in the Serpent and Dove series. I found Serpent and Dove on sale. I rearranged my shelves now, I don't know where everything is. I found this on sale in a secondhand bookshop. I really like the enemies to lovers in this book. I'm still to read book 2, but book 3 is now on my list. That's it for July. Let's get straight into August. What are we tracking like for team? For time. Okay, I'm too excited. Let's keep going. First of all, we have a new Stephen King, Billy Summers. I'm not interested in it, just simply because I have this massive stack of Kings up here I need to read before I get to his new stuff. But just if you're a Stephen King fan, heads up, there's a new one being released in August. Next, The Woods Are Always Watching by Stephanie Perkins. Now she's the one who also wrote There's Someone Inside Your House. You might recognise the cover. Cover? I'm a 12-year-old boy. I never read the other book by her, but everybody was reading it and everybody loved it, and I have a bit of FOMO, but I also feel like it's not new anymore. So instead, I've got this one on my list, and honestly, the blurb sounds really interesting. And by really interesting, I mean a classic goodie. 2 girls go camping, they meet one serial killer. What happens? I'm hoping the woods give me a real creepy vibe. Middle of winter, I really want that. The Perfect Place to Die is by Bryce Moore, and this is another one that reeled me in with that cover. Look how creepy that is. I love fantasy, but I feel like I'm getting a little bit over it, so I'm delving more and more into the more adult thriller, horror kind of vibes. Alright, so it's 1890s and our main character is called Zoretta. Now, Zoretta's just chilling, living a peaceful life out in Utah. Is that how you say it, guys? Utah? And her sister is in Chicago. There we go. And suddenly goes missing. So our main character goes to try find her sister, and the only lead she has is her sister's last place of work, which was some sort of castle as the setting, so immediate creepy gothic vibes. And there we discover that lots of women have been murdered, missing, presumed to have been killed. So it becomes a bit of a murder mystery in a really creepy vibe. I'm hoping this cover lives up to the atmosphere it's giving off. Although I should say this is young adult. Alright, I've got myself more comfortable, so let's bring you down. The next book is a book that I put on this list because it's about books. This is the reading list, and we follow a granddaughter and a grandfather. They're related. Essentially, the granddaughter is a real homebody. She loves to read. She's a bookworm, and she goes to a bookstore, and in the back of a copy of To Kill a Mockingbird, she discovers a list of books she's never heard of. So she decides to kill some boredom. She's going to read through the list. That's one massive strike for me to want to read this. I love the idea of going through lists. It makes my brain happy. It makes me feel productive even if I'm not doing anything except sitting there and reading. But anyway, the grandfather then really wants to try and make a connection with his granddaughter, so she gives him the list and they form a bond through reading the same books. And if that does not sound like the most heartwarming story ever told, give me some suggestions because I want more of them. Now, the next one is called How We Fall Apart, and it's described as Crazy Rich Asians meets One of Us is Lying. First book of that I've read, the second book I haven't, but this sounds thrilling. YA thriller mystery. Essentially, imagine you're at a fancy prep school. Now, our main character, her best friend, goes missing. I think killed. And essentially, killed. And we're told that one of the people from the friend group did it, and the person, this mysterious person called the Proctor, is slowly releasing incriminating private information about each of the friends in the friend group, and it's just a whodunit kind of story with some tension, some high school settings, some teenagers, a friendship group. I just want that in my life. Talking of whodunits and groups of people, the family plot follows a family. Now, our main character is 27 and she has been raised by true crime loving parents. And she's lived by herself in a mansion with her parents throughout her entire life. One thing that's been haunting her though is her 16-year-old twin. Sorry, when they were 16. Her twin, when they were 16, went missing. And she's just like, who did it? What's happened to him? Where's he gone? He's gone and been dead. He had an axe in his skull. And so now it's like who did it? But every member of the family, which is like one of them was the only one who had access to where they found his body, responds to his death's revelation in a different way. So, ooh, who did it? I just really hope it's plot twisty and unpredictable and give me that family angst. Thank you, drama. Another quick one, book 3 in the Kiss Quotient series written by Helen Huang. Book 1, loved it, 5 stars. Book 2, need to get to it. Book 3, just to keep you updated, is coming out this August. Alright, we are into September now, and on September 1st, Sarah J Maas is coming at us with an untitled novella, 3.2. I don't know. I mean, this is... Where's my bookies? Where's my books? I just saw them in there. I knew that. If that's book 1, and this is book 4, and one of those is book 3, I don't know if I have them in order, then 3.2 is somewhere. There's no title, there's no blurb, there's nothing. I just am intrigued. Who even knows if it'll be released on September 1st, but it's meant to be. Another September first one is Adrienne Young's, who wrote The Sky and the Deep, which I gave 4 stars, her new novel, and it is called The Last Legacy. I knew that. Thank you, notes. We follow Bryn Roth. Now, on their 18th birthday, they find that they have been delivered a letter from their true family to say, hey, come join us, yo. And so Bryn does, and then Bryn has to settle into the family. I won't lie, the blurb doesn't sound hella wow on you. But Adrienne Young is an author, just like Trisha Levenseller, who I mentioned in a wrap-up. Just her books get me through reading slumps, and Adrienne Young, Sky in the Deep, was a real quick, fast-paced cover-to-cover read, so she's just on my list. Next up, we have a J. Kristoff novel, Empire of the Vampire. Honestly, I see his name is on my list. Now, this is the beginning of a new series where vampires and humans fight with each other. It doesn't sound very wow different, but it's J. Kristoff, so I don't know what my arms are doing. Apparently this is a J. Kristoff dance. It's J. Kristoff. What is it actually about? What's its selling point? Our main character is imprisoned by the very people he vowed to destroy, so I'm hoping there's like, there's not a romance element apparently, but I'm hoping there's like enemies to friends or enemies to understandings, because I think it's really interesting watching people, creatures, have their ideas challenged. Among Thieves by MJ Kuhn is on this list because it sold me with it's meant to be like Six of Crows. Now that in itself can be problematic. I'm not expecting it to be Six of Crows, but it is a heist story. Apparently every heist story is Six of Crows. It's not. Let books be their own books, but I mean, hey, it did capture me and I can't be a hypocrite here. Essentially, Raya, R-Y-I-A, Raya, our main character is a she, and she is fierce with a blade, and she's just badass. But her name that I so terribly butchered is not her real name. We don't know what it is yet, but she has secrets and people are hunting her down, so she has to form a crew with people who are just as selfish and self-motivated for personal, gain as she is. So it becomes like that ragtag bunch of people working together for a goal whilst also having their own agendas. Yay! The Hawthorne Legacy, book 2 in the Inheritance Games. Yeah, games. Cycle. Inheritance Games was a 5-star read for me. I absolutely bloomin' loved it. I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you like Hunger Games, if you like books with games, get yourself a copy of the Inheritance Games. Loved it. I won't go into book 2 because it will spoil book 1, but book 2 is coming out. Next up we have a historical YA, and it is called The Corpse Queen. Again, anything really gruesome stood out for me for some reason when I was doing this research. Essentially our main character is orphaned and she has to go live with her aunt, and her aunt sells corpses. There's secrets, there's treacherous mystery and betrayal, there's family drama, and I want it. The Lost Girls by Sonia Hartle is sold to us as vampires meets feminism meets, what's his name? John Tucker must die? I don't know, but that got me reading, and then the blurb got me hooked. Essentially, our main character has been turned into a vampire in the year 1987, late 80s, and she was 16 when she got turned, so she's immortally stuck as a 16-year-old. And the only job she can get are those minimum wage, just entering the workforce kind of jobs. So I think she's at a diner in this book. And, you know, she's got some pent-up rage because the person who turned her into a vampire abandoned her. So she's left to fend for herself until she finds two other vampires who are turned by the same guy, and they all try to band together to help each other out. And it sounds hilarious reading about a vampire whose hair is permanently crimped. I just want that. Another one with no title, no cover, Gail Honeyman. And it says Untitled Book 2, which implies to me it's going to be Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine, Book 2, which we just read Book 1 in the Beth and Book Club April pick of the month. May pick of the month. I've lost track of time. We read it in the Beth and Book Club pick 1 month, and it was great. Loved it. 5 stars. I'm just really curious about what this one is about. Now, Kendra Blake. She wrote 3 Dark Crowns, which I think I gave 3 stars, but I loved the ending and I kind of wanted to see more from her. Well, there's more from her. This is All These Bodies, which is a YA mystery horror thriller. Again, just going on with that dark theme for this quarter of the year, apparently. And again, also historical-ish. 1958 is the timeline when this book is set. Now, this one sounds decidedly so twisted. We have a main female character and a main male character. She is called Marie, he is called Michael. Now, Marie is found covered in blood, surrounded by her slaughtered family. The only thing is, none of that blood is hers. Classic trope, but still intrigues me. Now, Michael is an up-and-coming journalist whose only way to get a foot in the door is to kind of go solo. So he talks to Marie and tries to come to the bottom of what this is, but of course, things unfold. Now, this one at first I was like, middle grade? That cover looks middle grade, but no, it's adult. Yeah, it's adult. Now, the thing is, this is the dude who wrote the Cerulean Sea, that one, which honestly I also thought from its cover was middle grade. This is literally me being told not to judge a book by its cover. But no, The House of the blah blah sea is YA, but his new one that's coming out is adult, and I'm really intrigued to see what his adult writing is like. It's LGBT. We have a man-man relationship, male-male relationship, where our first main character dies, goes to the ferryman, falls in love with the ferryman, refuses to cross over to death. I want to know what happens next. How do they get in the situation? What happens to their romance? It sounds so good. And the last one we have is Once Upon a Broken Hat. And you're like, Bethany, that sounds like a retelling, which you hate. Why do you have that on your list? It's because Stephanie Garber wrote it and she is the author of Caraval. And whilst it does sound like a retelling, I'm pretty sure it isn't. What it does sound is less like a retelling and more like a Shakespearean tragedy. Our main character lives in a bookstore, yes to a bookstore setting, and she loves a dude. The dude don't love her back though, the dude marries another chick, and our original main character, what was her name? Evangeline, has heard all about this fantastical, mystical prince from the books in the store. Essentially, give him 3 kisses and you get 3 wishes, something like that. So there's like a Aladdin element, I guess, but tragedy strikes because the prince who gives the wishes isn't a nice prince. So, sorry if that seemed really hyper, sorry if that seemed really fast paced. I just tried to get through them as much as possible. Hopefully you found a few to add to your TBR. If you know of any books that are coming out in the next 3 months that I missed, please let me know down below. It'll help myself out from finding new books, but also help the rest of our community out. We are a team. It's so awesome seeing you guys chatting to each other in the comments. It warms my little heart. For now though, guys, thank you very much for watching to the end of this video. Enjoy all the places you go in your own reading adventures, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!